download from today for free. So we're quite excited about that because it's been over a year that we've collaborated on this, and it's called BeNature. So I'm the Outdoor Learning Manager at Surrey Wildlife Trust. Kirsty is my colleague at Surrey Wildlife Trust. And Matteo is, well,
you forgot.
Say who you are, what you're.
We don't know. We've been working a year and a half together. You forgot who I am.
Never forget.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Is it right? Can you see?
Yeah. We're short on time. I'll just get straight.
Should we just speak up? Okay then.
No, you don't.
No.
It was perfect.
I am a researcher. I'm a researcher at the University of Surrey. I'm a researcher in sustainability science. So what I'm trying to do is really study sustainable solutions. That's what I'm interested in. Not really interested in the problems, that we have enough problems. I'm trying to understand what we need in order to create sustainable solutions. What I'll do today is try to give you a sense of what a sustainable relationship with nature could be. Okay? And why do I think that matters? I'm going to tell you why it matters. I'm going to tell you how we can promote it, and hopefully you will have an idea of what to do. Well, that's my hope, at least. Right? No, I don't have the time to go through all the theories and everything about what a relationship with nature is. You see, I just want to give you a sense of it. Okay? This is a tool called Inclusion of Nature in Self, done from environmental psychology, and I want you to choose the diagram here that best describe your relationship with nature. Okay? You can raise your hand. Diagram that best describe your relationship with nature. Here? You here? Yeah, here? Yes. Here? Here? Yeah. So the vast majority of people are here. Okay? I've done this hundreds of times. Everybody is here. Everybody. Now I have a question for those who answer. What's that part of you that is in nature? And you're not product of natural evolution, or you have creationists in the house? The human body is not even 50% human cells. More than 50% of the cells that compose your body are just bacteria and viruses that we use to digest food and keep healthy, and they use us for shelter, really. So we are not even human ourselves. We're kind of a zoo for bacteria, more than anything else. So why do we need to create this distinction? Why is there that distinction there? It's a cultural dimension that we have. This is the definition of nature you use to answer my question. By definition, nature is opposed to humans or human creations. We create a distinction. We believe in this distinction. And the slides move forward by themselves. There has to be a time at some point.
I think it's when you knock the lead. I'm not sure. I've been watching
It doesn't
to work
matter.
out.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every time they move forward. But this distinction is embedded in who we are, is embedded in our society, is embedded in our legislations, is embedded in how we conceive progress, how we conceive development, is really part of who we are. And every time you use the word nature, you bring this culture forward, you bring this separation forward, you perpetuate this disconnection, just by using that word. The consequences of this are, I would say, similar to the consequences of believing that there is one race that is superior to another. If we believe there is one race that is superior to another, then all of a sudden we have racist laws, we have racist development. We can discuss how to buy and sell and the price of human beings. We can do that. If we believe there is one species superior to another, or to all others, then we can discuss how much a species is worth. We can discuss how much an ecosystem is worth. We can create this separation between the natural and the human habitat. There will never be harmony between species here, in the same way there will never be harmony between races here. So that's why I'm interested in a sustainable relationship with nature. Trying to understand that we are just an animal. We are one animal contributing to life on this world. And this is the ecological reality that we need to learn, that is not part of our culture at the moment. So that's why I'm interested in it, because I think is the cultural foundation for a sustainable future, for a sustainable society. Now, what I've done in the last 10 years is trying to understand, first of all, what this human-nature connection or relationship with nature is. So I have done a systematic literature review of everything that is being written about human-nature connection from 1984 to 2015, trying to understand what are the disciplines that writes about that, and how we can combine this evidence, because environmental psychology, anthropology, and human geography, they have different evidences. They're really, really difficult to put together. So I've done this analysis, and then I realized there are people like you who work in outdoor education, who promote a relationship with nature that is harmonious and healthy. And they have a wealth of knowledge about what human-nature connection is, or what this sustainable relationship should be. So I interviewed and surveyed 200 different international organizations that do this for a living, to try to understand what it is and to try to understand what comes first and what comes after. After a year working with these ladies here, with the Soil Wildlife Trust, and together with some insights from an indigenous organization from Australia, we come up with a book. The book, still is a guide in a toolkit. It's not going to look like that. It's going to look a bit better, hopefully. But it's a book that creates a story about how we can learn to have a sustainable relationship with nature. What do we need? What are the competences and the milestones that we need to achieve? What are the nature experiences and nature activities that we can create? And there are several components of this BeNature. And one is a series of progressive competencies. Currently, we live from nature. That's where we are now. We take resources, we don't care. It doesn't matter if we live in the desert or somewhere else. We just take, and it doesn't really matter where we are. It's not sustainable, it's not going to work. What we need to learn first as people in a society is to learn to be first in a natural environment. We need to be comfortable in a natural environment, we need to be curious about it. Then we can develop the capacity to interact with nature. How do we relate to the trees? How do we relate to the waves? How do we relate to the rocks, etc.? Then we develop the competence for being for nature, and then ultimately, this is probably where the collaboration with the indigenous people came to fruition the most. How do we learn? What are the competences to be as nature? What are the competences of being a natural being? Now, within these phases, there are different competences. There are different milestones to achieve. Being in a natural environment means developing comfort in nature, developing curiosity. Interacting with nature covers interaction with nature, some form of ecological literacy. You need to understand what the different trees are, the different ecosystems, etc. Ties to natural places comes more from human geography. It's an attachment to a specific land, not an abstract form of nature. This is how indigenous people would talk about connection with nature. They don't have a word for nature. They use kanti or landscape. They connect to the landscape. They don't connect to nature. Nature is abstract. So it ties with your local natural biodiversity, your local natural ecosystems. Epiphanies with nature tend to be like very, very strong and formative experiences that shapes your identity as a person. Different competencies for being for nature: empathy, stewardship, leadership. Stewardship is the ability to take care of a natural environment, an animal, a plant, or an ecosystem. Leadership is bringing others to it and do the same. And this is being as nature, this idea that we are part of an ecological legacy, we are part of natural evolution. Our relationship with nature is not just ourselves. It's 100,000 years before and 100,000 years after. And this idea of I have a oneness with nature, a spiritual connection with it. So this is the first component. The second one is probably, hopefully useful to people who want to put into practice. It's a way to evaluate if a nature activity is meaningful or not. I would say it's kind of pointless to list all possible nature activities that are meaningful, because it's just an endless list. We need to understand why they're meaningful. We need to understand the qualities that make these nature activities meaningful. Now, through these literature reviews and synthesis, I kind of highlight 16 of these meaningful attributes. So you can have an activity that is intimate, that is awe-inspiring, that is mindful, and this can be useful when you design an activity, but it can also be useful when you evaluate that activity. You might be want to do something that is fun, enlightening, and intimate, but maybe when you ask the people, it wasn't really fun or enlightening. And you can evaluate the activity and say, oh, maybe I can make it more fun, maybe I can make it more restorative or more sensory or more physical, etc. So the idea is that the idea here is to create a possibility, create a foundation for a curriculum that can be easy to perform. Identify what you want to achieve, the competencies that you want to achieve, understand if it's suitable for the people that you have. You're not going to teach a student to hug a tree if they're not even comfortable getting their hands dirty or their clothes dirty. Monitor the activity and try to enrich it. Now, as I said, we are pre-launch, so the book will be launched. We will launch the book at the Surrey Wildlife Trust May 16. But you can download this on the website benature.info. So this is free, and you have the guide and the toolkit in there. So you have the possibility to design your activities and also evaluate them there. Have I missed something?
No, that's perfect.
I think now you will try to.
Everyone's trying it.
You will go outside in the sun.
It's difficult, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Just remember what you said to do.
Yeah,
You
you will go outside now and then maybe try to explore a bit of these phases. Try to explore some of the activities that we have been put in to kind of provide some guidance and see if they work for you.
Yeah, so Matteo brought his research and scientific research and his research with practitioners to us, and we have put in the guide some ideas of activities that you could do to start people off on this journey to nature connection. And also I would say that when Matteo came to us, it was a real, oh my gosh, that is why that hasn't worked moment for us, because for example, I've been out with George Abbott Secondary School with the Year 9 students and said, come on, we're going to create a meadow, so remove the turf and sprinkle it with wildflower seed, and sooner or later this year we'll have a lovely meadow. Well, they came out and they just were not interested. It was, Miss, why are we doing this? When can we go back? And I got them to remove the turf, but they had no interest in coming back to see whether that meadow had bloomed. And I realised after talking to Matteo, it's because they just weren't comfortable or connected in any way to the site. And it made us change how we work with students. So what we did then was get students to come out and assess the grounds, get them more comfortable in nature, get them curious about what's in their grounds, collect their ideas and visions for the grounds, and then develop a project based on what they were thinking. And when we did that, they became so much more interested, and they became stewards of the meadows that we created, or the hedgerows we planted, or the ponds we put in. So it's made a real difference for how we approach things with students now. So that's part of our Wilder Schools programme, which we will keep plugging through the day. If you want to sign up, it is free and it is great, the impact it has on students.
And as Louis said, the way we've designed that is taking all of this into account to try and take as many of those students that we're working with on their nature connection journey, so they can really grow their relationships. And then we're obviously walking away thinking we've improved the biodiversity in that school grounds. That's a great tick for us, but actually we've helped those students travel along that journey as well. So it has really helped with that.
And the toolkit will help evidence stuff, because if we're given funding, we're always asked to evidence, where's that funding gone and has it been used wisely? So the toolkit really helps with that. and the attributes really help to design a session that's really going to be a rich and meaningful experience for people. So, over to Kirsty
Yes.
to explain
Yes.
activity number 1.
So we're going to kind of take you on a potted version of the first few stages of the relationship journey. And this is something I do regularly with the classes that I teach in. If we are moving from one activity to another between lessons, or perhaps we've had like a dip in focus and we need to try and get everybody's energy up or just get their focus back for the next part of the day, and we'll just go out for like a nature break. But it won't be like break time, there will be a kind of thing they've got to do in it. So we have a little pathway that I've set up in the school that we follow, the same kind of pathway each time, but I'll always send them with a thought or something they've got to do. So as we walk over to the site that we're going to use today, I want you to be able to prove to me by the time we get there what season we're in, and you can use things you find, things you feel, things you hear, whatever. Okay, so you've got to have some proof by the time we get over there of which season we're in and why. And if you notice something that you're really inspired by, it doesn't necessarily have to be connected to the season. I want you to collect it as well, so you've got something with you.
It's fresh out, right?
Do many sustainability courses at university.
There are a few.
Yeah.
There is a
There's a-
bachelor and a master
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. What is it? Postgraduate.
Undergraduate, and postgraduate.
Postgrad,
Both,
yeah. Yeah.
Both.
Thank you so much.
Anyway,
It's really
please.
interesting. I very basically teach sustainability at school,
Okay.
but only from like what I pick up. So this is super useful.
Oh, that's good. Thanks.
Our
Thanks a
school,
lot.
our school are really forward. Well, not now. Everybody's catching up, but
Yeah.
we have it in the curriculum for year 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. So not they don't have it for a whole year. They
Mhm.
have like 8 lessons.
About sustainability.
Yeah.
That's
A
good.
year, and so they have a 2-hour lesson once a week. The first hour we do inside, and we look at the UN Sustainable Goals. So
Oh,
we
yeah,
look at a different
yeah.
goal each week, and then I take them outside.
What's happening?
No, in case you
Sorry.
go.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, and
No, no.
I was just saying it was so interesting. I really
I
liked your
take my
slide.
phone and I'm coming as well, so I can bring your work. There, going.